When we scrim TL, he calls them Team Pink Ward in all chat. He talks about how they buy so many pink wards and they're wasting money, blah, 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 in all chat to them.
Where I want to start this one is, how do you feel beating Evil Geniuses? This is game of the week. I interviewed Jojo and I interviewed Armeo, and they were, I wouldn't say they were talking shit, but they were very confident coming in, especially our boy John, who was, you know, playing up his time with you guys and playing down your accomplishments. He said, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, I think EG needs to get humbled a bit. I think Jojo in general needs to get humbled a bit. Yeah, I think he's good, obviously, but he makes mistakes, and so does their team. And I think that, at least for me, I was pretty confident going into today's match. Honestly, a lot of our losses, like, we are just making really bad early game mistakes, and we just kind of get snowballed from early game. I still think that we're very, very good as a team. And I mean, I think today we showed it, but we also, to be honest, got like our best champs today. So it's like, it's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Jenna?
I thought Jenna was really useless there. Lose lane every level, and is just worse than Milio. So.
Well, speaking of weird draft things, you guys ran Zeri mid earlier this week. How do you feel? How did you feel about it?
We never actually practiced Zeri mid, so it wasn't like a practice pick, but we trusted M&S and him saying it was good, so we pulled it out. I mean, I think he did well that game. It wasn't his fault we lost. Like,
wasn't his fault.
I think like we had some accidents happen in bot lane like early game, and then some accidents happening to me later in the game. So we weren't able to like allow him to carry.
Yeah.
Besides that, I think everything was like good about the champ.
It is generally known that all chat is open in the tournament client when you log in. And it is also known that Jojo likes to speed racer. Did you type racer with him today?
No, so I had Jojo blocked before, but
you're not the only one that's.
But the thing is, like in scrims, he's actually the one who types R on his team, even though he types like 50 times. So I unblocked him recently to see when their team's ready, like when they pause, right?
Yeah.
But immediately when I went into game today, I muted him. So I wasn't able to see anything that he was typing.
Okay. Oh, man. Do you partake in any of those things? Do you type in all chat a little bit?
No, I never type in all chat. Well, okay, I do type, but like not in like on stage. I never type. Yeah. And I usually only type to people I know as like just banter or for fun. But I'm not really into like, I think what like Jojo does, like the shit talking and stuff, I think that's really good for them for LCS, you know. I think it's great, but that's just not me. Yeah. And I think that it's just not something that I do, but I don't hate people who do it. I just don't want to see it on my screen, so mute.
Who on your team does it?
Definitely Sven is the biggest person who banters. When we scrim TL, he calls them Team Pink Ward in all chat. He talks about how they buy so many pink wards and they're wasting money, blah, 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 in all chat to them.
They won.
Yeah, so, yeah, sadly they did beat us. You know, they got the revenge on us after us calling them Team Pink Ward, but statement still stands. Yeah. They do buy a lot of pink wards.
Let's rewind a little bit. I've been asking both you and Golden Guardians players, what was the biggest takeaway from MSI for you, you know, given the fact that there were expectations and seeding and all that stuff? Like, what did you take away from the experience?
I think we learned a lot, honestly. I think our scrims against the Asian teams were actually going pretty well. Like, we were winning some games versus BLG. We were winning some scrims against T1. Obviously, overall, we were losing to them, but it was like, I think we were definitely improving. It felt like they were playing like the game very fast-paced, and we weren't able to keep up with them at all. Like, it wasn't even that like lanes were falling apart or anything. It was more like they just take over the map. That they're diving, we can't react, they're invading, stuff like that. It felt very hard, but as we scrimmed more, it felt like we were able to, you know, kind of learn what they were doing, adapt better to defending, do it ourselves on the other side, which is really like sad because I thought like we would have a better chance versus BLG and Genji to at least take a game off. I think in the Genji series, I had like a really bad series. And I think in the BLG series, like we didn't play that well either. And I think that like if you want to beat these Asian teams, all 5 of us have to like play well at the same time, you know, at our peak. Yeah. So I felt really bad that we weren't able to take even one game off them, which I really thought we could, but it was definitely a good learning experience.
Yeah, it's funny. That is exactly the same thing River said. It was the pace of play against the Asian teams. Can you give me an example of that? If you're not talking about lanes just kind of snowballing out of control, like what is an example of pace?
Just an example would be like we couldn't play against T1 on Italy. Italy obviously had pride at the beginning of the tournament, kind of dropped off as people were like, okay, this champ's not that good.
Yeah.
Like versus T1, games ended in 8 minutes when they had Italy. They level 1 invade, they dive bot, they dive top, they dive mid. They're everywhere. Faker's not farming minions. He gives up like 3 waves. He goes bot. You saw MNS do that today. It's something we learned from MSI. It's like they just don't care about farming as much. They just play really fast. They dive you. They invade you. Especially like with Nidalee, we couldn't even play, so we thought Nidalee was really OP. But
yeah, it sounds like almost like a shift in the philosophy. It's not like, hey, let me get more gold than what they can do by farming. It was, let me make them lose more gold than what I'm losing.
Yeah.
And then it kind of snowballs.
And then you're
that
gaining,
way.
yeah.
Interesting. All right. Thank you for that. Like, again, everyone always knows, like, okay, like the Western teams are learning from the Eastern teams, and you learned a lot, but what is it? So I think that kind of example is really good. Coming back to the split now, I want to get the health of the league from you. Like, you know, you guys are at the top. A little stumble there against TL, but then a big battle between the top teams here. How do you feel about the LCS this split, especially after coming back from such a learning experience over at MSI?
I think LCS has a lot of good teams, but not a lot of great teams right now. I feel like, including us, like there's not a single team that's that dominant. Like we make a ton of mistakes when you watch our games, right?
Yeah.
Something that we need to work on as well. A lot of other teams make lots of mistakes, and it doesn't feel like there's one team in the LCS or like even like 2 or 3 that are like a lot better than the rest. It feels like there's a lot of like close competition, right? Like I think the top 4 right now is like us, GG, EG, and TL, and I think like even we aren't playing insane. Like when you watch like GG's games, for example, yesterday versus 100, it was like a giga banger. It's like the games don't feel clean. It's like a lot that I feel like we need to work on as a region, I guess, right now, because it doesn't feel like any of us are super strong.
One of those teams that you didn't mention at the top, FlyQuest. What are your thoughts on their start to the season and how desperate it felt? And yeah, they've rifled off a couple wins now, but just the thoughts of what everyone thought would be your rival this split.
Well, I didn't bring them up because they are in 10th place right now, even after 2 winning
No,
plays.
I agree.
But I think that FlyQuest will for sure make playoffs, and I think that they will be a threat in playoffs and a threat of going to Worlds. I think their roster is still good. At the beginning of the split, they were winning like almost all their scrims, I heard.
Yeah.
Just scrim rumors, though, like, you know. But I think that they were struggling.
Sorry, wait, that just sounds like such a Cloud9 thing, like just scrim rumors. Because, guys, if you didn't know, Cloud9 doesn't scrim last place teams, because when I was on Golden Guardians, we had to scrim everyone else, and we never got to scrim Cloud9. Never! We scrimmed Cloud9 Academy like all the fucking time. We never scrimmed Cloud9.
Yeah, and we shot on you guys on Cloud9 Academy, just saying.
That was a rant. That was a rant. That was a rant.
But, we did scrim FlyQuest a lot. Like even now we scrim FlyQuest. Even when they're 0-6, we're scrimming FlyQuest.
Yeah.
Because we know the potential of the players. Like,
For sure.
And even when they were losing all their games, the scrims versus them were competitive.
Yeah.
So we definitely have scrimmed them. And I think they're good. I think they'll bounce back. I think they are maybe having some stage jitters. They were playing like uncharacteristically bad.
Yeah.
They had winning positions some games, rarely, but when they did, they just threw them.
Yep.
But now it feels like I will say they have a pretty easy week this week, like of opponents.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they are playing Immortals today. We'll put the result right here.
Yeah. They're both tied for last right now. So
yeah.
I do think they have an easier week this week, but I think they will definitely come back going into playoffs.
All right. Well, last question I got for you. It's the one I've been asking everyone. Tell me a story about a teammate of yours that you're not currently playing with. So it could be anyone that isn't one of the 4 guys you're with right now. Funny story, stinky story. For example,
Jesus.
I'm going to throw Berserker under the bus here. I said, hey, Berserker, tell me a story. He goes, well, I'm newer, so I can use the teammates. I was like, yeah, you can use your team. He goes, well, we have a thing called a Blaber Angle after the gym.
What?
Yeah, he went into the Blaber Angle after the gym.
After the gym?
Yeah. He's like,
what is that?
He said it's pretty weird that, you know, Cloud9 has the gym thing, but then the Blaber Angle is when, you know, we have to go scrim real quick. Robert doesn't really like sweat all that much, so sometimes after we gym, we go straight to practice. And
I never shower. No, I never.
That's a Blaber.
Yeah, that. First of all, that is not the Blaber Angle. Okay.
He said it.
In scrims, that is not the Blaber Angle. Okay. Just side note, that's not that's a different thing. But I don't like showering after scrims because I shower at night.
Okay.
And I don't like showering in the morning and at night.
Okay, okay.
So I shower at night.
There it is. He doesn't wash off the greatness.
Yes. And also, it is true, I don't really sweat workout. Mainly because I'm not going that hard, but.
Honestly, I think that's a good enough question there. I'll save, so you can think about it. An old teammate before in the past, next interview, I'll make sure you get that story. All right, everyone. The two-time MVP, Blaber, here joining me. If you want more of this content, keep it locked here on Dig On Esports. Thank you very much, Blaber. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course. Just saying, like, I'm not going to shower twice.
Funny. No,
I'm not going to shower twice, like.